And there I started off working in a restaurant and in the kitchen, as I didn't speak Spanish by that then yet, because I didn't need Spanish in Tenerife, because I improved my English, I improved my German. So I started off in the hotel, learned a bit of Spanish because there were very kind Spanish people working in the kitchen and they helped me out. Then I worked in the restaurant of the hotel, which was very nice as well. But as I was a bit of a chatter, the director saw me more or better working as an entertainer. So then I moved on to be the entertainer of the hotel, which means early in the morning, sports with elderly people, but also youngsters. And in the afternoon, I would do the mini disco with children. And at nighttime, we will have an evening filling show with bingos in all kinds of languages and so on. And I really enjoyed that. But obviously by that time, I think it was like 2 years I was working there in total now in Tenerife. I thought I need to get a bit of a more serious job. And in the hotel for that moment as an entertainer, it was not a really, well, for me, it wasn't really a serious job. So I talked to the director, and again, I was lucky, or I took the opportunity, but he sent me off to Madrid to learn Spanish. And he had his ex-wife and children in Madrid, and he asked me if I could take care of his kids. And in the meantime, I could learn Spanish. And if I would do that, I could go back to the hotel and work probably as a receptionist or a bit further down or up the chain within the hotel. So that's what I did. I did make a little mistake there because by that time I was 21, 22. And I was thinking, well, you know, taking care of children, what can go wrong? So, but I didn't think about culture. I was not aware of culture. And what happens is that when I started taking care of the kids don't go to bed at 7 o'clock as I was used to in the Netherlands. So you will have them like the whole afternoon, night. And that was for me a bit of a struggle because I didn't have much time for myself. During the day, I will go to classes, Spanish classes, obviously at the house as well as the children that didn't speak English. I learned a lot of Spanish with them, but I was not really happy. But I did it for 8 months and I learned Spanish, basic Spanish, and I was happy with that result. But I decided to go back to the Netherlands because going back to Tenerife, by that time, I was already a bit older, and then it was not, you had to get a new contract every month. You had to get your ID approved every month, and it was a kind of a hustle. So I thought, no, I need to find myself a good, steady job. So I went back to the Netherlands, started to work for a clothes company, which is a Dutch company, but it was international. And in the first 2 months, I realized that they were starting an office in Madrid. So again, I took the opportunity, or I was lucky enough to go and talk to the director of the clothes company. And I asked him if I could help out setting up the office in Madrid. The only requirement he had, do you speak Spanish? Oh, yes, I did, I said. So then I went off to Madrid. And that's now 27 years ago. And I'm still in Madrid, not with the same company, but yes, in Madrid. And here I am, yes, 27 years later.
Yes, a very long love affair with Madrid.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so now I know that story. And then in terms of you're talking about cultural differences and the dichotomy of your expectations with young children and then interacting with the Spanish system and things like that. What else have you discovered in terms of cultural differences or learning from your side? Because you know, certainly for me, I've lived in several countries, but I've come from England to America, and I'm discovering that there are wider cultural differences than I would have expected. So is there any challenges you've overcome in terms of cultural differences?
Yes, there are a lot of differences culture-wise, although you will not expect it. But the first thing already was for me, like culture-wise, is eating. The terms of what time you eat, what do you eat at what time. It sounds weird, but I really had to adjust from eating my lunch at 12 o'clock, my sandwich and my glass of milk. I had to change this, or had to change this if you want to adjust to the country. I had to move it like around 2 o'clock and then have your proper meal, which now I love to do so because I prefer to have my warm meal during the day and at night a lighter dinner. I still cannot get used to it to have my dinner at around 10. I only do that if I go out with friends and we stay out or whatever. But that's another thing that I had to adjust to. Also the living outside, which is like a positive thing, and but I had to get used to it. Like, you don't really invite people to your house. You go and visit. You go to a bar. If you say, oh, let's meet up, the next question is where. It's not like, do I go to your place or my place? No, where are we going to meet? It's always outside. So, and in the beginning it was surprising, and it was a bit more difficult or weird, but now I love it, because that's what I love about Spain. You're outside all the time. You've got very long days, which is also what I'm not really used to because of the weather. I personally don't like the hot weather. I'm not really fond of the heat or whatever, especially here in summer, it can be very warm. But what I do really appreciate is the long days, the long hours of sunlight. Even if it's cold, there's still a lot of sun. And that's something that I was used to really quickly. And I embrace it now that you have long days. A lot of people ask me, would you like to go back to the Netherlands, or do you at this stage would think about going back? If I go back, it will be a lot of, I will miss the long days, and I like the being outdoors and meet people outside of your house. So that's another cultural thing.